All right. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity, and uphold her honor and glory. So help me God. And that's how I say welcome to VOP this morning. It's a beautiful day indeed. Some Nigerians are disappointed, but we're still here. We're still here, and there is another opportunity for Nigerians to show how mighty it is in Africa when you talk about the Africa Cup of Nations. I'm Moses Humphrey, welcoming you to the show today.
I am Fina Okechukwu. Happy New Week. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria.
Oh,
For
well.
the pledge, I was expecting you to do the prayer too. O God of creation, direct our noble cause.
A very good morning to you out there. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning, this amazing Monday. One of the days that we need to remain positive. Moses, you made mention of the Super Eagles and how Nigerians are reacting to it. But I will say here that I think they gave their all. And you win some, you lose some.
That is subjective, giving their all. Well, it's come and gone. It's come and gone. I think they could have done better. I think they were a little bit, nonchalant about the entire thing. They didn't seem hungry enough.
Oh, well.
Would you say it's a case of pride goes before a fall?
No. I would not want to.
We had a lot of young, inexperienced players in that squad. But anyway, that has come and gone. The unfortunate part for me is it became an extended mourning weekend for Nigerians. When Nigeria went up against South Africa, Nigeria, even though Nigeria won, Nigeria also mourned, and some Nigerians died.
Yeah.
And then into the weekend, another prominent Nigerian died in a plane crash. It became mourning time, and Nigerians felt, okay, maybe on Sunday, the start of a new week, all the mourning over the weekend will be crowned with victory at the Africa Cup of Nations, but unfortunately, we didn't see that happen. So it became an extended one, but it's fine. Let's get into our talking points for today.
Oh, well, Tinubu begs Nigerian Army to Shun Coup the plot. That is one of the talking points this morning.
All right.
And then also we have Zamfara government bans sales of fuel in jerry cans, breads on motorcycle.
All right, now these are the stories we're tracking today, and we'd like for you to come along with us as we go into these stories, trying to make sense of it, and also to keep you informed and entertained. Now, do well to follow us on YouTube. It's Voice of the People TV, and on all the social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. But as usual, we start off with looking at the papers, and we do have with us in the studio Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is a public affairs commentator, a communications expert, a chartered accountant, and his portfolio just extends a whole lot more. But it feels good to have you with us in the studio. And I'm going to start off by saying, how did you feel about the outcome of the march yesterday? Because I asked if you watched it earlier, and you said yes, you did.
Well, Moses, I think a mark of a man or a brilliant woman is where he or she stands when things have not gone the way he expects things to have gone. And as I always say, the serenity prayer. God, give me the serenity, grant me the serenity to accept those things I cannot change. The strength to change those things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it's that wisdom now that tells me that our boys went out. The heads got bowed at the end of the tournament, but I think plus or minus, we commend them. And I stand on the back of President Bola Tinubu's statement, which says to them that they have done their best Thank you very much, Moses. Thank you, Fina. Thank you, David.
What exactly are you thanking
I
us for?
am thanking you because when you were reading out you said I'm public affairs, you didn't say I'm a historian. Yes.
Okay.
Also,
Maybe we should add that too, because I did say there's a whole lot more.
as a historian, I like how you started with the pledge. That pledge was penned by Professor Felicia Adeyoye of blessed memory in 1978, and then President Obasanjo was in power. So since our president has given the directive that we must always say it exactly as it is, I think we are complying. You should be listed on the stock exchange. VOP listed on stock exchange. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, then, so let's dive into the papers now.
All right, let's just dive quickly into it, where we start off with the Guardian newspaper. The banner headline here reads, "Exiting oil firms pollutes Niger Delta with 36.1 million liters of crude oil in 8 years." Well, that's about the banner headline on the Guardian newspaper. You see here also, elephants shock Super Eagles to win 2023 AFCON. And then there's a pictorial here, which is very bold, but underneath it, World Health Organization predicts global shortage of 10 million health workers. 10 million health workers, global shortage. Anglican Church, Afe Babalola tax Tinubu on fiscal policies. That also is on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Also, you find here, U.S. begins investigation into crash as Access Holdings scout for Wigwe's replacement. What a time. What a time. Serap sues Akpabio Abbas over 344.85 billion naira National Assembly budget. 344.85 billion naira National Assembly budget. That's what Serap is suing Akpabio and Abbas for. And of course, you know, Akpabio is the Senate Speaker of the House, and of course Abbas is also of the House of Representatives as well. Also here you find on hardship, states in Nigeria risk total collapse amid rising hunger, unemployment, Japa. This is according to some reports. You also find that inside the Guardian newspaper. And then also you find here Tinubu berates ASU authors for criticizing student loan scheme. Says no going back. Okay. And then the final headline here on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, APC aspirants suspend participation in Edo Global primaries. Okay. That's about all of the headlines right here on the Guardian newspaper. Mr. Q, which of these headlines would you want to quickly react to? So,
well, I like to say that's the one that the whole of Nigerians are reacting to, the loss of HOW. That's how we call him back in the day. It's personal to me because we both trained in a farm that is called Coopers and Diamond, now PricewaterhouseCoopers. He came in, and I think the senior brother too came in around the same time to start the process of doing ICANN exams. The senior brother dropped along the way, but he went through and got qualified. I am not only saddened, but I also say that our path went different ways. I went to the oil and gas. Of course, Herbert went to the financial sector. One lesson I learned, there's a concept we call sunk cost. If it is sunk, it's sunk. It's gone, right? But, what can we learn from it? One lesson that I think is moot and proper is one of the things we are taught in safety and security. You cannot put yourself, your wife, and your children in the same car going on a journey. Talk less of putting yourselves in a plane. From what I gathered, you know, getting to California and 1.5 hours to go to Las Vegas, they thought they could risk the chopper. Unfortunately, weather conditions. Okay, again, like I said, that is gone. Herbert was larger than life. We all know that. He had his hands in the arts. He had his hands in entertainment. He had his hands in fintech. He had his hands in education. Of course, you know, Wigwe University. I also like to say to all of us sitting here, and by extension, those who are listening to us, that we should always consider that today might be our last day. People go out of their homes and houses, they don't return for one reason or the other. So we need to make sure we put our acts together, and there is no limit. Herbert was 57, no doubt about that. But from about 40, 45, let's begin to do the what if questions. Wigwe University, I am prayerful that we will not die and should not die, and I don't think he's going to die. He has taught so many. You know, when he was asked that what should he be remembered for, and he said it's about bringing smiles and taking people to their highest potentials in whatever field, especially in the fintech, and he has taken it to the African continent. That is the story that touches me most. That is the story that I think I like to say a deep, very deep. He left Nigeria, went to the UK, picked the wife Chizoba, picked his son, Suzy, and off that happened. I believe Nigeria will not only learn a lesson, virtually all parties, when I say parties, I'm talking political parties, parties in government and the opposition have expressed their deep condolences to the Wigwe family, especially to the dad, engineer Shun Wigwe, who was a Director General of NTA. May the Lord God Almighty wipe our tears and teach us to number our days for us to be able to apply ourselves unto wisdom.
Our heart goes out to the family as well. Yeah. But right now, let's go to the streets of Lagos. Let's look at what Nigerians are saying concerning stories from the dailies. Tosin, good morning to you. What are Nigerians saying?
It's a beautiful morning, Lagos, and I'm in the streets of Lagos to get a reaction from you. What that news is, what that news item that interests you in the news this morning. A couple of things in the news this morning. When it comes to the news, when it's happening over weekend, we heard of two illustrious sons of this country in the person of Wigwe and Femi Ogunbawo. Wigwe is the former chairman of is the CEO of Access Holdings. Ogunbawo is also a former chairman of the Nigerian Exchange Holdings. There's also the news of the Super Eagles also losing yesterday the African Cup of Nations final in Cote d'Ivoire. Let's hear from a Nigerian. What interests him in the morning? Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please, sir, what interests you in the news this morning?
Okay, many things. Many one.
Oh yeah,
because number one is when Nigeria, I've already told people that we cannot, we can't have a tournament. Understand? And many going on in Nigeria, we cannot eat. Food is very expensive. Rice now is 7,000, and you want to see many things. I don't have health, good hospital in this country. About leave us about 2 weeks ago, go to France and secure itself and come back to Nigeria and want to expect us to win this tournament. As in, what do you feel? Feed myself, God, for the last how many days? Now they are banning many things in Lagos State. I don't know, maybe it's Nigeria generally. Sure, you understand? Take away, maybe action bitter in sachet, and they are claiming that why they want to ban it is because of it's blocking the gutter. The people that what do you want to say about that? Is that an excuse? They should think now. We lose many jobs. There is no job already. That banning many things. How do you want Nigeria to be good? Do you want a good thing and you want a bad thing? their work, anything from ask people in order because people are feel hungry. Them, they have many security. Me, I cannot work around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. How do you want us to feel that? Eh?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time. You can hear from him this morning. These are some of his thoughts about what is going on in the news. Of what is going on in the news. For Voice of the People TV, Oluwatosin Ejalonibu, back to the studio.
Much, Tosin. Apparently, another Nigerian was itching to speak as well, while Nigerians are hungry, to say the least.
It's quite interesting that he did a quick switch there. So my question now would be, if Nigeria had won yesterday, are we going to talk about hunger?
Of course, Nigerians will still talk about
Because he actually had a quick switch. I mean, you heard him say things like, I knew Nigeria was not going to win, and we are hungry. President traveled, and
the hunger part is that's what's in the heart of the matter.
oh yeah, very true.
All right, let's get on to another paper now. We have the Punch newspaper. Now, the Punch newspaper, the banner headline here reads, "Heartbroken, Nigerians mourn Wizkid, Wigwe. Friends, well-wishers recall late CEO's life and times. Nigeria may demand report as U.S. probes crash." I think Nigeria should demand reports.
I'm surprised.
He was, unlike other Nigerian big men, says mentee. Wigwe, exit of a banking Wizkid. Tinubu Abiodun, family, friends, mourn stock exchange giant, Ogumbanjo. And on top of the nameplates, we have Eagles clinch silver as Cote d'Ivoire win AFCON. Eagles saved worst performance for final match. Fans, all right. Nigeria facing worsening economic crisis, says IMF. I think they did say the worst performance because that was the worst from the start of the tournament up until that time. That's the worst I saw them play. Nigeria's predicament not solely political. Adeboye, discos overcharged 7.1 million customers in 9 months. FG. 4 killed as gunmen abduct 5 in Ogun. Nigeria to become food exporter through mechanized farming. Tinubu. All right. Well, these are the headlines that we have right here. Nigeria to become, we're talking hunger right now. This is 2024. The president has roughly till 2027. What magic are they going to put in place right now to make Nigeria a food exporter when the people cannot even afford bread as it is right now? Rice in itself has gone from what we used to know it to be, it used to be 30 something. At some point, it used to be 18,000 naira a bag. At some point, it has gone up to 77,000 naira. And there's the fear that before December 2024, Nigerians might have to buy a bag of rice for 100,000 naira. Minimum wage still is 30,000 naira.
It's still not guaranteed. Minimum wage on paper. I tell you, apart from what your reporter filed
From the streets, yes.
back, Mr. Jalonibu, to see there is hunger in the land, there is anger in the land, there is a feeling of fear and insecurity in the land, and I foresee situations where it's not getting any better. It's also safe to say that the navigator, who should naturally be the chief samurai, the chief pilot, is somehow confused at this stage. Anybody will be confused at this stage.
But is this statement a sign of confusion?
I think so. Because when you make a statement and you cannot back it up by willpower and you cannot measure it, in management you talk about scorecards, signposts. we had been there for 8 months, going to 9 months, and we haven't seen clear-cut pathways. Now, please, I like to be quoted properly. We haven't seen clear-cut pathways because I do not see anybody that will be able to navigate this kind of ship in the turbulent waters that we have.
Could that be
The
why?
only-
Could that be why Adebayo says that Nigerians' predicament is not solely political?
As far as I'm concerned, whether we are going to call it spiritual or not spiritual, I think our religiosity is all part of our being in this country. But spiritually, you know, it tells you that others before yourself. It tells you that you should not be too greedy. It tells you service must be oriented towards lifting up the poor. There are elements of spirituality. Muhammad, may the peace of God be on him, Jesus Christ, Buddha, all preached the fact that service is given to others. I haven't seen that, unfortunately. And the point I wanted to bury was the fact that you may be a captain in a turbulent ship, but that is not the time I begin to see you faffing around and not being sober, you know, and not cutting your coat according to your cloth. That is not the time you, your household, I've always said it, and your constituency and your party will be relatively smiling when the rest of the Holoi Poloi are in deep hunger. What I'm saying is that I expected the president, his henchmen, to roll up their sleeves and get to the work. Are they doing the work? On paper, yes. We say they are doing the work, but we are not seeing results. And if you are going for exam and you are doing repeats and you are still not passing, at one point in time, the examiner will tell you, get out of the class.
But you just said on paper that it looks like they are doing the work. Now, the president has just come out to say that Nigeria would become a food exporter through mechanized farming. Emphasis on the word mechanized farming. Is Nigeria really ready for that right now? Like, can we really achieve this? I mean, even the ordinary farming.
Again, King David, I'll be bold enough to tell you that if you make, as a king, and you make such platitudes, for me to have a feel that either you are doing something or I should have hope. But when that hope has gone fallen, sorry, I am not going to follow you. How can you be talking about mechanized farming? How can you be talking about net exporter when internally we have not even fed ourselves? When internally those who are supposed to be doing little bits here and there, you'll be doing. I mean, it's just not making sense. Now,
Yeah.
it may not be his direct action, but he has inherited it. We are not going to pity him. The point is we are not getting the right results. And if we are not getting the right results, or at the beginning, we don't see any light whatsoever, and we've gotten to the end of our theater, I'm afraid because Nigeria has now gotten into the zone of anger. You see, Fina, even if you have the best of the best intention, nobody trusts you. And if there is no trust, there is no confidence. If there is no confidence, there will be a lot of speculations. And everything.
Says President Bola Tinubu urged the Nigerian Army to show an action that could truncate Nigeria's democracy. After the break, we'll move into that. Welcome back. President Bola Tinubu on Saturday urged the Nigerian Army to shun actions that could truncate Nigeria's democracy. The president made this plea at the Diamond Jubilee of the Nigerian Defence Academy, NDA, in Kaduna on Saturday. According to his speech, to shun actions that are capable of truncating democracy comes as a continent witnessed a series of coup d'etats. And now we still know we have Mr. Akin Fatunke in the building with us this morning. I would like to ask you, I don't know, what do you make of this plea by the president? Do you think he's being a bit scared over the fact that some countries in Africa are democratic rule, stating issues like corruption, insecurity, and even increased poverty to be the reason? And that's all we're facing in Nigeria now.
And not only that, we are also facing widespread corruption electoral. Since about 20 years ago, we haven't gotten our politics right. I also think that in the past 20 years, especially, we have not operated a constitution that will take us to the right place. And Mr. President, while appealing to the military to try and face their constitutional role, when you see fear, you know you have fear. And if you have common sense, you begin to do things that will begin want to obviate. So my first point, or my first reaction, is that there is an admittance, de facto, that all is not well with Nigeria. Internally, there is the jury, by law, speaking by law, that Nigeria is not united. There is also an admittance to the utmost truth that our security forces are not the happiest that you should expect, whether in terms of hygienic needs meeting, whether in terms of the big C in the room, which is corruption, which has torn us all apart. Niger are all going to the other side. There is a wind of change. And what did they cite as rise on the tap? They cited corruption, they cited poverty, they cited insecurity. Now, which of these can we say we don't have in Nigeria? We have them, and we have them aplenty. Now, if you now then say, yes, they are there, and we are going to continue to find a way to untangle them. But something else that not just came on top of that, which is the economic instability that we are having. I think this president, and I will say it for any umpteenth time, has started boldly and well, but has not executed with good example, right from himself and those who surround him. I also think that the office of the president is showing signs of, I don't want to be harsh, I don't want to say incompetence, but incapability to guard and guide towards helping to build trust. Being bold to say, Mr. President, no, we are not going to go that direction. This is the direction we should go into. Did he cause it in the past 8 months? No. And I will keep on saying that anybody that came into the saddle of Nigeria on May 29 will also be confronted with the same problem. Perhaps it's only the body language and the exemplary character either or of them will bring to bear that will be the situation of things. Okay. Now, please let me also say, when Mr. President said that, and was talking to the military on that Diamond Jubilee at NDA, that the enemies of Nigeria are still very much there. Mr. President should be told, and he should know, that one of the key segment of the enemies we have in Nigeria is the political class. They have not done well at all levels. I'm not just talking at the presidency. I'm not talking at National Assembly. I'm not talking about the judiciary. At some national levels, state governors, they have not done well to the extent that we expect them to do well. I think they have allowed wanton corruption and greed and lack of sense of shame to be clouds. So for how long will you continue to beg?
All right, let me
Rather
let me
than
take you
beg,
down
please
memory lane.
begin to
I would
cure.
like for you to take us down memory lane a bit here, as a historian that you are. When we had coups in Nigeria and the military, jumped in to take over, they cited corruption, they cited bad leadership, they cited hunger as part of the reasons why they decided to take over and administer the state. If you want to draw a comparison between what it was then and what Nigeria has experienced in the past almost 9 years, would you say we haven't gotten to, a stranglehold of some sort at this time?
Well, I don't know about stranglehold. All I know is that we have gone backwards. During Abacha's time, he was talking about consulting clinics. Perhaps a bit far better than what we have in most states of the Federation. We now have where you can just take somebody and then the person should be singing his or her non-activities. We have adulterated drugs arising from high costs and what has happened at least within the last 8 years. We don't have good security. And of course, when they came at that time, they knew they were going to come, get a few civilians, subvert the constitution, begin to feather their nests. Almost invariably, when Nigeria was awash with petrodollars, we had some little bit of showing here and there, but they took us far backwards. Today,
The military, you mean? The military?
the military, yes, democratically speaking. But now we now got into Agbada and Babariga. What do we see? Some people are even saying, please, maybe that's a better time than what we have now because corruption have just not gone off that roof. General Obasanjo retired, did something very interesting. Again, it leads to the debate as to who should be the president of Nigeria. It should be a bit of everything. And one of the first things that he did from day one was to unplug the political exposed military men and took them off. This time around, some 30, years after the demise of MKO, we could say that Tinubu too has taken a decision to plug in a couple of people that are quote and unquote supposed to be loyal to the state, but those people can only hold their men and women to the extent that good governance, and they are not also feeling very hungry. So between then and now, I'm able to tell you that we've gone backwards. Stranglehold, yes. When you are strangled, you are about the knees on your neck, and you can lose your breath. Why Nigeria has not lost the breath in accordance with what Babangida said at one point in time, it beats my own imagination. We are educationally, health-wise, political consideration. There are 17 SDG goals. On all the SDG goals, Nigeria has not moved. Well, really, let's be fair. Nigeria has moved 2 steps
Let's
forward
look at
and 5 steps
I'm
backwards.
sorry, I'll have to interrupt you at this point. Let's look at what this government has placed emphasis on in the past few months. Now, I'm going to talk about the purchasing of certain comfort for the National Assembly. Let's also look at the fact that the just concluded Africa Cup of Nations saw progressive APC progressive governors donate 200 million naira to the Super Eagles. It might be a good thing, but then it's at a time when there is hunger in the land. That money probably would have been donated to purchasing some sort of equipment that would be used. Now, it's also at a time, equipment to be used for farming or something else. It's also coming at a time where grains that were supposed to be released some time back, there's no news as to if they were. And a time where the government is also calling for more grains to be released because of hunger in the land, because of protest in some parts of the country, Mina and Kano, case in point. It's also coming at a time, I mean, a whole lot has happened. It's also coming at a time where, I don't know if you saw this, a video that trended some weeks back on X, where a soldier went back to camp. Apparently he was on vacation. He was supposed to leave camp. But then from his narration, he got to the terminal where he was supposed to board a bus from his the theater in the north to his base in the west, and he couldn't because transport fare was over 50,000 naira and his salary was 50,000 naira. And he took his bag back to camp. So he was going to spend his vacation in camp at the theater of war. Because of what? Salaries were small. Now, talking about salaries, we're also in a time where the government, albeit the federal government cleared the monies owed to the Super Eagles that came to the tune of 12 billion naira. Good one. But being faithful, loyal, and honest as Nigerians, aren't these things critical issues that is enough to cause chaos? Enough. It's beginning to look like the government is just, trying to pacify the people with words, with promises, without concrete things. Wage award has not been paid. Are you aware? I mean, it's been paid twice. The 35,000 naira wage award has been paid twice. The 25,000 naira for poorest of the poor, there's no statistics as to how much that has been paid. And here we are. I'm going to use a word. It might not be appropriate, but that's the word coming to my mind. Here we are, cajoling, that's the word, the military to sit tight and not venture into taking over authority in this state. If you treat people well, wouldn't they just ordinarily support you? Do you think this government is even this government has a desire from what we have right now, from the statistics I've dropped on the table? Do you see the desire to treat the people well?
I give them benefit of doubt. I give them benefit of doubt, but in reality, all what you have read out, statistics, whether alleged, whether real, that we all can see, can feel, and smell, is a sign of a failed state. Nigeria is failing. Okay, so if we are doing strategic discussions, I just spoke about the SDG goals, 17 all in red. We've tried to draw it. The capacity to be able to pay salaries is not there. We are not earning enough revenues to pay salaries, is the truth. And then the little that we are getting, some people are sitting on it and using it to go gifting. Gifting, it's what you call precious things that does not hit the bottom line. And if you don't also have a sense of shame, then what do you say? Let me just take my own and then go away. It's what we faced in the last 8 years. It's what we also faced in the PDP government that, you know, part of it, insecurity and what have you. So if you are a failed state, why will you? It's just that we are always very careful to make certain pronouncements. If you are a failed state, he that is down fears no fall. We are very, very poor. We are poor in spirit. We are poor all over, and unfortunately, again, we have had a government in place that has not shown good example, but I'm also alarmed that in forming this government, we also have governments that are not necessarily within the government in the center. Have we really seen the marked difference, whether at the National Assembly, to now then say, no, I want to stand different? The bottom line is simple. We are in a train, a bus, a motor vehicle that's not going to take us to any promised land. We are in dire straits. Nigeria is in a state of flux. I agree, today we have an elected government, whether at the federal and the state, that needs to do a little bit more, in fact, double up more. But are they going to be able to want to do that, to lead by example? I keep on saying it all the time. One of the things that needs to be done is for us to begin to see personal example. One of my colleagues, Bismarck Rwane, has made a statement, and one of the statements he made is that please come clean to Nigerians, no matter how bad. This is not a time for us to now be sugarcoating. Come clean. What is the real state of our economy? Don't come and be telling us that we are going to be net exporters. Don't tell us, don't go to the military and be telling them they should. Look, all those are platitudes. Let's see clear steps forward.
Well, the government has said that opposition parties should come together and work with them, bring ideas, work with them, and not just that. To some people, it gives the impression that the government, this government in power, is clueless.
No, I don't think so. Consensus building is not one straight, one party. Nigeria is multi-plural. I think it's wise. I don't think anybody can rule Nigeria without the kind of consensus that we should build, because we don't still have that consensus. Perhaps it's one of the reasons why the trust deficit is so wide. No, I think they are not clueless. I think such consensus also means that the way you make appointments from the center will be all encompassing. And when people now begin to see that they are not marginalized anyway, at the end of the day, they can bring in some of their best.
But as a history,
I also think, seriously speaking, and talking about asking the opposition to come, I haven't seen opposition in Nigeria. I'm sorry, and I don't want to get into an argument.
Mention of
There is no effective opposition. An effective opposition will say, "This is the way you are going. This is the way I will do it." I haven't seen that. It's all wrong.
Now, the consensus you just made mention now.
Yes.
I remember sometime in August last year, the retired generals called the same government and gave them some level of advice to be a bit careful as against how they reach out to the army and also the people. In other words, there were some people who spoke to the government as regarding security, corruption. Of course, they made mention of the fact that things aren't working in the country. The army also, in August, made a clear statement that there is no kind of coup in plan. You just made mention of consensus. Now, my question is this. If this government is really big on wanting to do better, don't you think the warnings by these retired generals who are also part of the army, because let's also face it, they've been there before. Isn't that worthy enough to hold on to and to do what is right, particularly as regarding the army? Of course, Moses just made mention of their salaries, and I'm just okay. Let me just read out a bit of the structure, salary structure here. A general earns 1.5 million naira monthly, lieutenant general 1 million naira, major general 950,000, brigadier general 750,000, and on and on. But the people who go to the field, the least they earn from a cadet level is 50,000 naira.
David, I'd like you to extend that to the educational sector. Those who are professors, are they earning anything better? Those at the bottom layer, Osifu and the labor leader have cried foul. I mean, I'm really interested in the specifics that these generals have given this government, because those generals that you are talking about are part and parcel of the system. The only, in my own view, the only advice that anybody can give, whether you are military, whether you are civilian, is the fact that the constitution of Nigeria is not working and it's not going to take us elsewhere. End of story. It's not going to take us anywhere. Naturally, the generals want to talk and speak to their people. Within those general ranks, we have also seen they're sitting and putting monies in septic tanks. One of them was just let off on terms that on corruption. So it's a whole lot of confusion in between. And the only pathway is to say that this house has fallen. It takes a heart of steel to say this house has fallen. Get out of that house and let's now find a way to try and rebuild. All this, and the only way to rebuild is by the political class. The political class, and that consensus that I'm talking about, will be, as we speak today, fortunately or unfortunately, we are divided into ethnic and religious lines. Somebody from the north, somebody from the southeast, somebody from the southwest.
Isn't that something the politicians sold to us?
Well, those are the realities of where we are, and if that continues, then Nigeria cannot breathe. So we must all come together, sit on a table, and make a decision. Make a pronouncement. To your tents, O Israel, within this ambit and procedure and processes, bring a few things to the center if you want to continue to be Nigeria. Nigeria is negotiable, pure and simple. I do not, and you know, I can also tell you in oil and gas. In oil and gas, we also have our own issues and our own subsidy or no subsidy, bad fuel or no bad fuel. In the banking sector, you see what has happened in central bank. I say put all these things together and say everything has not worked for us in Nigeria. Let's be the consensus, let's be the trust. Let's sit down around the table and fashion a way in such that if you don't produce, you don't eat.
Is there the possibility that Nigeria, the government, let me start from there, can have a consensus with the people who at this point are feeling very not secure, very hungry, and very distant from the political allies? Is there the possibility of bringing those same kind of people to a roundtable talk, knowing full well that at this point I'm looking at you from the point of you're telling me to come talk to you after I see you lounge in several ways?
The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria easily is the most powerful human being on surface earth. Take what I've just told you. The constitution that brings that president, he has so much influence. And if he has the willpower, all he needs to do, without necessarily looking at his own interests, is say, the interest of Nigeria, we must all get together and come to terms.
Is that the willpower for this political allies?
I hear what you are saying. They don't have a choice. And one of the reasons why they don't have a choice is we are beginning to see the signs. The Kanu uprising, the
Mina protest.
the Mina protests, the protests that the bandits and the terrorists are saying directly or indirectly is staring all of us in the face. We also see a situation where Mr. President is speaking to the military constituency. The center is not holding. And the only way, if we want to avoid going the Jerry Rawlings style of revolution, it's not then say, let's all of us come together. It is in our self-interest to come and say that Nigeria is not working. The people are getting very, very restful. Call the National Assembly. Talk to them. Let's find a way to fashion a new constitution. Okay.
But don't you
Some
think
people say that maybe you can continue to tinker with this constitution here and there. That is where I think you have a point to say the people will not want to take the rug off their feet. Let's take this option of Professor Akunyili. Openly come out and say, we have failed. We are not going anywhere with the way we are structured. If we don't do it, sooner than later, I pray, like Awolowo said, that the ship of Nigerian state will not hit the rock and will find ourselves in a Titanic situation.
You know, but don't you think, Mr. Akin, that if they are to, for one to call for this constitutional review, there must be a referendum and all that, and we know actually that in Nigeria as a country, a lot of people are actually beginning to agitate for, regional rule, or maybe they want to segregate and all that. But now, don't you think when they want to call this, looking at the history of the country, the way it is, the way the country actually came in, the amalgamation process and everything, don't you think that actually that can intensify the cry for, I want to be on my own. I don't want to be a Nigerian again. Remember what happened, what led to this, the civil war, and all that. So don't you think that actually can lead to that? I think that, don't you think that's what they're scared of?
And what's wrong with that?
Are you of the opinion that, Igbos should, be on their own, or this region go back, Niger,
I am not even
prescribing. One take care and all that.
I'm not even assuming or prescribing anything. Let's all come together and talk about it.
But coming together is proving difficult. We know that when Buhari took over when Buhari launched his military rule and took over from Shehu Shagari, he said that he did that. He launched a coup. He took over because of corruption and wastefulness. He pointed that to be his reason. And then the same Buhari came to rule us in Nigeria as now a democratic president. And what happened during his own time?
And what happened during Jonathan's time?
I think people can tell you that what happened during...
Jonathan, who is not up north, south, what did Jonathan do to now then say, this country is not working? I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
Where I'm going to, and the point I am making, and I stand on that point, is that Nigeria is not working. Even when you said it's going to be difficult, much more difficult than where we have found ourselves, going down the slope, that a place like Rwanda, that should be just about a few local government areas, are shining and blazoning all over, and we cannot get into our potential. We can't get into our potential because we are different people, different cultures, different religions, but we can still fashion a system whereby if the Southeast wants to go, well, let's take the referendum and go. If Southwest wants to go, look, is this fair? Is this fair that Nigeria is, no, everything is going to go into places? I think Nigeria is going to be stronger. My conviction, Nigeria is going to be stronger when we go into our different ways and then decide that we still want Nigeria and put something in the center. It therefore means if you don't produce, you won't eat. Pure and simple. Unlike what we are having in this unitary system that we are calling federal, you don't produce, you take a large chunk of those who produce. It's as simple as that. We should bury this fear. We should look at it frontally in the face, and we should tell ourselves a honest truth. the kind of terrorism that is going on around Nigeria, that terrorists are issuing threats, are telling you that this is what they are going to do, this is what... It's a clear sign that the system is just not going to work. It's not working.
All right. Mr. Aki, we just
Sorry,
have
please,
to...
like, I'm sorry I sounded harsh. It's not at you. But it's to everybody that listens to me. You can come and debate it with me, but I am telling you, with my age and where I have reached, it will be foolhardy, and it will be most irresponsible of me, for me to see the truth as I see it, even if you say I'm wrong, and not be able to say it for the sake of generations unborn. I have to say that truth. It's the only clear path forward, so that the likes of you can then
blossom. All right then. Thank you very much, Mr. Akin Fatunke. Let's quickly move over to our second topic. Now we're going to Zamfara State now, where the Zamfara State government has announced a ban in sales of a loaf of bread and petrol being sold in jerry cans to motorists and motorcycle riders, all for security concerns. Well, let's talk about this one when we come back from this break.
All right, welcome back. It is still VOP this morning. Let's just quickly dive into our second talking point of the day. Now, in the light of the recent kidnappings and insecurity in the country, the Zamfara state government has announced a ban on sales of loaves of bread and petrol in jerry cans to motorists and motorcycle riders for security reasons. Briefing newsmen at the end of the state's security meeting, council meeting in Gusau, Commissioner of Information and Culture Manir Muazu Haidara said the council's resolution was taken as a result of the nefarious activities of some filling stations who are in the habit of selling fuel in jerry cans and loaves of bread to some suspected bandits in some rural communities in the state. In recent times, we have seen other states like Lagos ban motorcycle riders in some parts of the state to restore sanity, reduce crime and injuries and deaths on major roads in the state. We also have Rivers, Kano, Akwa Ibom, and the FCT Abuja, and many others to do the same. He also reiterated that the use of tinted glass covering the number plates and use of sirens by some individuals on unauthorized vehicles have also been banned by the council and directed security agencies to arrest and prosecute offenders. Well, stay with us is Mr. Akin Fatike, but interestingly also we have John Akerele, who is joining us virtually this morning to also talk about what we are really looking at this morning. I'm going to come to you, Mr. John. I sure hope you're with us right now. What do you make of this ban by the Zamfara state government?
Good morning to you. Good morning to the viewers all over the world. I think if the government is banning some things, it's part of the sanity that we have been looking for in the society. And for me, I think it's a good development. Ordinarily, we should have a body that oversees all that we consume and that even control all that we eat as well. Even when it comes to alcohol as well, there should be a limit to all that we do. And so the government is, waking up to a responsibility now. For me, it's a thumbs up. But then we should also look at creating alternatives for these business owners. So if there's a way to regulate them, is that because there are some, if you are giving ban on some of these products, ordinarily some people will be out of jobs. Okay, and so we should also look at ways of incorporating them into a bigger sector. We have Nigerian breweries that produce alcohol. We have other sectors that produce alcohol as well. So if there will be a way of repackaging the products from sachet to other recyclable products, that would be a very good one. I think it's just a holistic approach, and for me, it's a welcome development from the government.
All
But
right.
then we should
I
do better.
think there's a switch in perspective here, because what we're talking about, John, is the ban on buying fuel in jerry cans and carrying loaf of bread, supplying loaf of bread on loaves of bread on motorcycle because of insecurity. Because in Zamfara, it's been discovered that bandits, who of course we know operate with motorcycles most of the time, are able to fuel their motorcycles by buying fuel in jerry can and taking into the forest to put in their vehicles, in the motorcycles, and then using it to perpetrate the banditry that they do. And also, they are being supplied loaves of bread by bakers or certain individuals so they get food to eat. Now, it's not the first time, actually, that the Zamfara state government is placing a ban on these things as a way of curbing insecurity. If you do recall, in 2021, Governor Bello Matawale did place a ban. In fact, filling stations were shut for dispensing fuel to for supposedly aiding bandits by selling fuel to them in certain kind of vehicles, certain kind of jerry cans, and certain kind of motorcycles. And some bakeries also in Gusau and Safi local government areas were also shut because they were said to have been supplying bread to bandits in the forest. Now, my question really is, if that measure was taken in 2021, what became of it? At what point did the government relax and then these things continued? And it's putting a ban on the distribution, now not on the production of bread, but the distribution of bread and banning purchasing of fuel in jerry cans. Is that really going to curb insecurity? I'm going to ask you that question, and I would also like, in fact, I think I should let Mr. Fafatuke chime in first, and then I'll come back to you for your response to that, John.
Okay, John, nice to have you here. I will cut the chase. I am yet to see a most unimaginative, a most lazy way of wanting to tackle a problem, to say somebody has a headache, then cut off the head. What have you done? You've made it worse. And for emphasis, I'm happy that you went back to Matawale's time in 2021. Please go back even beyond that. Look, we are talking Zamfara. What about Lagos? I work in the oil and gas industry. Back in the day when the men were men and not boys, buying of fuel in jerry cans, not because of terrorists, but because of safety and security, was prohibited. I remember my company at that time got a bad star that we were too particular. Why? Because the products were not available. Because before you can say Jack and put Robinson after it,
So
if
you
you
buy
don't,
and store.
if you don't buy and store, and then the Okada thing now then came, how do you expect them to move? I'm talking about Lagos Center of Excellence.
Okay.
And since then, we have not succeeded. We tried and tried and tried, and what we did was to go through the normal channel. The normal channel is not looking at people who are selling bread a little bit here and there, through our chain of our dealers. We put a lot of discipline in checking those dealers, even before they decide that they are going to do something funny. We're already having a feel, and you are off the road. Now, if you took this style in Zamfara, Moses, is a sign that Nigeria has failed. Is another sign that we are not capable of living the way other people live in sane societies. Now, if you ban bread, okay, so let's switch it. I am the terrorist, and she's not the terrorist. So we are together. If you ban it, I am starved. She's not a terrorist. What's she going to eat? How is she going to eat? Why do you think she will not now then say, an hungry man being an hungry woman being an hungry woman? Join them. We need much more creative way of doing things. And in any case, Governor Bello, he knows it very well. I know he's a banker. I know he's worked in the banking system, but that's not it. He knows that that prescription that he has made is going to be observed in reverse. Nobody is not going to do anything. You just catch a few people here and there, and then continue to impoverish the people.
Okay.
What are the kind of controls that you have? At one point in time, it was alleged, and it was in all the newspapers in this country, you can go back and check. They said my company that I worked for, the IOC I was working for, that time Mobil Oil Nigeria PLC, that we were part and parcel of the people that were alleged, and that's why I always use the word alleged, supplying arms to Boko Haram at that time. And it's flashed. From the US, they said, what? Nigeria, can some of these things happen? After searching and tracing, and I was part of it, at that time, the spokesman for the army was now retired Major General Olukolade, bless him. We discovered that our trucks were seized. They put the wrong, they tried to put the Mobil logo on it very wrongly, and it was actually carrying. Immediately I saw our truck. It took me from Lagos to say, look, that is not a Mobil truck. That is, that's an adulteration. Otherwise, so many years Mobil have been out of the place. What I'm saying is that intelligence policing, real community policing, this constitution that we are still holding and are still saying power to the center, central police, is not going to help us. We need the kind of the Amotekun-like, not the kind that we have in there, that will take care of everything that surrounds the living of those people. And, Governor Bello, try something. Take a large chunk of your security vote. Make a decision. Go and see the people.
Well,
win their height.
Governor Dauda.
Dauda
Lawal, that is there now.
Dauda Lawal, excuse me. Okay.
Since 2023.
Okay, well, I said it to Matawali at one point.
Yes,
Now,
before then.
So, Mr. Lawal, take a large chunk of your security votes. Go out there, hamlet by hamlet, hit the road.
All right.
Go and win the heart and mind of these people, that when they see something, they will say something. Because these people have commingled, and they don't trust you. They believe you are either, a lot of governors are living in Abuja instead of their states. They are not hands-on when it comes to this real security.
Right.
And intelligence security is one that will be able to go to the grassroots, win the heart of the people, They will give you necessary information, and you nip this in the bud.
All right. So we're talking trust here now, John. Now let me come to you quickly. Now trust, where the people don't trust the government, they don't trust the bandits either, but they fear the bandits, so they tend to want to do business with the bandits. In some cases, they even pay tax to the bandits as a way of, giving the liberty to continue living their lives. And here you are, banning sale of petrol in jerry cans and banning what the common man eats, bread. I mean, bread has been there since since the day of the Bible. Bread, when you talk bread, you talk sustainability. Well, here you are. How effective do you think this will be, truly?
Moses, thank you very much, and good morning to my guy, Mr. Patoke, in the studio. Moses, it shows now that the government is out of ideas in terms of combating insecurity, most especially in the northern part of the country. And if you say you want to ban a fuel, the kind of system that will operate, Moses. There are some small-scale business owners. For example, people who run shops, people who run barbing salon, they run on generating cells. Why? Because there's no power. And they can't take their generating cells to the filling station to fuel. Rather, they will buy fuel in kegs and then pour into their generating cells for them to have light so that they can run their businesses on their own. Now, this ban would affect those set of people. And Moses, that comes down to the issue of data collection. We do not have data. If you ask the governor today, how many people are business owners in Zamfara? He doesn't have the data. So, when was the last time we had census in Nigeria? When do we have that proper plan? It's okay. This person lives in number 10, Shanjuku Road, Borno State. Can we go there and confirm that that is truly his residence? So it means that a country or a state that has no quality data of the inhabitant of that state, number one, has failed, and nothing can work in that regard because there's no contact tracing of your people, of your resident of the state. And so that, for me, for any serious government, is to know the number of people who are living in the state, the number of people who are jobless in the state, the number of people who are business owners. And so when there are schemes or programs, the people to meet. Moses, talking about intelligence gathering and security, in other part of the world, they make use of their aged, their retirees as informants. And what do? These people are in their 70s, in their 80s, they're out of work. They just sleep in their house and eat. What do? They sit in the house almost every day. And once they see, a funny movement or they see a strange face in their neighborhood, they alert the police that we are seeing a strange face. And before you know it, a police, vehicles around the corner, to ask some questions. Until we get to that part of looking at how we can use our old people in these rural settlements, then we can gather that intelligence that we are always looking for. And then, if you get this intelligence, what is the response rate of our security personnel? Borno and Zamfara State, Moses, they are not even self-sufficient in terms of personnel on ground. Now, out of the personnel that is allocated to Borno State or Zamfara State, how many of those personnel are attached to the VIPs in the state? So you ask yourself, the number of policemen or army or even civil defense all together, put together, is not even enough to govern the state. How much more the VIPs? So all of these things need holistic approach. This, for me, is not the best way to approach insecurity. Rather, it's just like scraping, the icing on the air when the real issue is left undone. And I think another thing, again, just like Mr. Patoke said, is the necessity of our government officials, our governors, to put in the money where it ought to be put. If a governor is having security votes and he cannot even account for how you spend your security vote month in, month out, and even for a period of 4 good years, then you ask yourself the question, are they really ready and sincere in terms of fighting insecurity? Moses, if you are saying that they should recruit more police officers or more personnel, those ones that are even available, do they have all that they need to work? When you call a police line now, emergency, can they respond to you in 5 minutes? The answer is no.
They may not even have
and so
respond.
They will tell you they don't have fuel, they don't have the logistics to respond.
Yes.
And You want to bring in more people into the system where those ones who are already in the system don't even have a good working environment for them to respond to security threats. And so for me, the governors should go back home, sit down with their people, and look at how they can map out security strategies that can work for their own state. Moses, every state have its own peculiarities. And if we say that the whole state, of the Nigerian country should take the same approach, it won't work. Why? Because of their geographical peculiarities. So I think governors should sit down, look at the geographical peculiarities of their own state, and draft out, a strategy that can help them combat insecurity. Banning bread for me is not the best way to curb it, because if you ban bread, they have other alternatives that they can, always go around and eat. Right. The next thing again, Moses, is about this trust. Why is it that people trust bandits more than the government officials? Because bandits keep to their words. How do I mean, Moses? If they say to you that they are coming to bombard your village in the next 2 days, you see them in your village. If they say they're going to kill in the social local government, in the next 3 days, you see them do it. They kill. But in our own case, government officials give you promises, and even after 8 years, they still give you excuses or start blaming past administrations. But then, none of them is being owed salary. None of them is being owed any of the allowances. But then the people suffer it. And so for me, I think the governor, and the government should go back and take up their thinking cap and look at better ways of combating security rather than this one. This one for me is just a child's play and to not even last.
Okay, I was going to ask you, with all of the trust issues you mentioned, with the ban of the sale of bread and fuel in jerry can, do you anticipate a potential black market in Zamfara State arising very soon? And how do you think this impact will affect the overall security apparatus in that state?
I think for me, if you're looking at that, what I think the government should do is very, very simple. Nowadays, people are using technology in terms of mapping areas. Zamfara cannot be as big as some other part of US or some other countries in the Western world or even in Asia. And yet they have this way of, monitoring every activity of their geographical region. And so if something happens, they can tell you where it happened, they can tell you the time, they can tell you the route that these people followed, and they can follow them all through, right from their system, right in their own office without even going out. That is the using of technology in terms of drones as to mapping your areas. And so for me, that is where I think we should be spending our money, because you cannot tell me that a terrorist group that is not as sophisticated as the government is more powerful than the government. They are not as intelligent as the government. Only that we don't have government officials or leaders who have that political will to spend the money that is in their hands for the good of the people. Rather, they just want to lay back and look at the excuses. So for me, if you are banning bread banning is not even the solution. Another thing I think our government officials should look at is we should be students of history. If we have a particular problem, let's look at this problem. Have we had this problem before in time past? Yes. What are the measures that we took, our heroes past took then? Can we do assessment of that strategy? Did it work? Why did it work? And then can we look at how to review and revamp such a strategy and look at what we can, put together to make sure it works this time around? So for me, if you have done that ban before, assess it. Did it work? If it didn't work, then why come up again after many years? It's just like you want to, toe the line of your leaders or past heroes who have failed woefully, and you want to go in that same direction to waste money again. So for me, that is not the way to go. Rather,
all right.
Thank you. Mr. Akin, we've been experiencing, or the government actually has been banning so many things. We had the ban of the sachet drinks, the distillers, the ban of, now in Zamfara, ban of bread and petroleum in jerry cans. Also, ban of, plenty things Nigerian governments are beginning to ban. Even the stereotype for dishing food and all that. And they have their reasons. Thank you very much, Mr. Moses, for that. The styrophones, saying that they need to ban them. And they give so many reasons for that. And now, looking at the recent economic crisis in this country, looking at the way the Nigerians actually are, crying and lamenting over the high cost of living, over so many things, do you really think that, this banning thing is what Nigerians need now? We are voice of the people. Do you think that this is what we need as it stands?
Voice of the people is the voice of truth. Voice of the people is the voice of the headmaster, who will knock you in shape so that your future can be straight. Right? not all the bans are out of place. On the cell phone thing that you mentioned, on the Okada and what have you, those bans were made for the overall health and environmental protection of the polity. My friend, you're so right that given the environment that we live, should you ban and naturally go ahead and ban and not give something? Okay, now, what is this something going to be? I am one with John. The journey of 1,000 miles starts by taking a first step. Let's begin to have a data print from now. Let's begin to control our population, secondly. And then thirdly, this word palliative, humanitarian, can we begin to now then see these people that you are banning this stuff that you can use to eat? Can we put something in place, at least, no matter how small, highly subsidized or given free for the first 6 months to help you so that you can adjust yourself? That is where the discipline comes in. So rather than you go out and just want to look for a cellophane paper to eat, can you now begin to now then say, my own bit of the bargain is I want to bring my own plastic from home or my own plate from home, put it in a bag, you know, and then so that government policy can meet at a central place. But banning bread, when you don't have enough bread, if you look at what you showed, the glucosamine type of bread that will end you in the toilet and what have you, you want to ban that again, you can be rest assured. Why didn't we ban bread when we were doing our politics, you know? They put 500 naira in terms of a loaf of bread. So we should be looking forward to banning our voting process. Look, the long and short of it is simple. Creative and bold thinking to say to ourselves that our country is not working. It's become so big and we don't have the capacity that we say we have 36 states at the Federal Capital Territory. We cannot manage them. So let's all get together and take a decision, critical decision, as to how Nigeria should be governed. But in the meantime, two things, John also said it. If I were to be a governor of Zamfara State, I would tell myself the truth and the honest truth, and the only way is win the hearts and the minds of the people, put some structure in place that can help them, take my security votes away from myself and my family and converting it to dollars and then keeping it and
should we
drawing
consider
us
that your
into
parting
poverty.
shot?
So
should we consider that your parting shot?
my parting shot,
Pressed for time.
my parting shot, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, our listeners, Nigeria is not working. We can make it work if you have the mind to make it work.
All right then.
Simple.
All right then, John. Let's also have your parting shot so we can wrap this up. As you also give your parting shot, bear in mind. But let me just put this out there. In fighting insecurity with the bandits and everything, sometimes ransoms are dropped in places, and the citizens themselves, the indigents, help them to carry the ransom from where it was dropped to the bandits. And in some cases, the ransom is paid into bank accounts. Should operation of banks be banned as well? Your parting shot, please.
Thank you, Moses. I think let me respond to that quickly. You know, it's so terrible that even some bandits have TikTok accounts, and they're even showing videos of how they move around in the forest, how they are torturing their captives and all of that. And then we're in the era where there's internet, and we are saying that we cannot even get where these people are. And I think for me, we are just playing with ourselves or playing with the intelligence of Nigerians. My parting shot is that if the government of the day is really serious, they should go back to regional revitalization, where every region have they have more than enough to grow their region, create jobs for their people. And then you will see that to a large extent, insecurity will reduce, if not eradicated, optimally.
Thank you very much, John Akirile, public affairs commentator. and also a concerned Nigerian and a political enthusiast. Let's not talk about being a farmer because that's not he's not putting on that cap today. Well, thank you very much for coming on the program, and big thanks to Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is a historian, like he's pointed out, a chartered accountant, and also a public affairs commentator. Thank you very much. Communications consultant and expert as well. I like to put that one right there. Those are some of the feathers in his cap. Well, thank you for your robust analysis on the program today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
All right, that's it on the show. We'll take a break now, but we still have some more to give you. We have business, entertainment, and then sports to come your way. Yes, we'll still talk sports. It doesn't matter. We'll talk sports. But let's take a break. When we come back, we'll delve into the world of business.
When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports, and even entertainment. Join us weekdays, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, so we go into the world of business now, and as expected, we're starting off with the devastating helicopter crash near the California-Nevada border that has shocked the business community as it claimed the lives of Herbert Wigwe, the group managing director and chief executive officer of Access Holding, along with his wife, son, and other passengers, including former NGX chairman Abimbola Ogunbanjo. Now, the crash occurred on Friday, February 9, 2024, as it occurred as the passengers were en route the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Well, the Access Bank has confirmed the tragic loss of Dr. Herbert Wigwe and also extended their heartfelt condolence to the families affected by this tragic incident, leaving many in mourning. And we also do hear that Access Bank is sourcing for a replacement already for Herbert Wigwe. Well, that's a loss to Nigeria. Now let's move away from that story. President Bola Tinubu has articulated Nigeria's ambitious vision to transform into a net exporter of food, despite the formidable challenges posed by soaring food prices. Now, speaking during a meeting with the leadership of the Tijaniya movement, President Tinubu emphasized the government's unwavering commitment to achieving self-sufficiency in food production through substantial investment in the agricultural sector. The administration's comprehensive strategy includes providing farmers with low interest or no interest loans, introducing state-of-the-art farming equipment, and investing in irrigation infrastructure to bolster food production and ensure food security in the country. Away to Enugu now. In Enugu State, inflationary pressures have compelled the Association of Table Water Producers, ATWAP, to announce a temporary shutdown of water-producing factories. Now, the decision, made after extensive deliberations on the challenges facing the industry, comes amid a significant surge in the prices of raw materials and production costs. Now, from February 12 to February 15, 2024, all table water producers, including those manufacturing sachet and PET bottles, will suspend production to explore viable solutions to the economic challenges plaguing their operations. Now, this development underscores the urgent need for measures to mitigate the adverse effects of inflation on local industries and ensure their long-term sustainability in a challenging economic environment. But those are the business stories that we have for you at the moment. Just take a minute, think about it. When production is stopped, table water, sachet water in some parts of the country, already sachet water goes for about 3,000 naira for 10 bags. Right now, 2,500 in some places for 10 bags. What used to be 600 naira at some point. I think we'll go back to the era of boiling water to drink.
Actually have the suffering water scarcity. So they don't have water there. And now they want to shut down the production
I just wonder what becomes of the people. Because truly, like you said, water, the availability of water is a problem.
Yeah.
They go, I mean, they for those that have dug boreholes, they dug and there's no water.
Yeah.
And now you have to back. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Chisom will be here to take us into the world of entertainment.
Welcome back. I still VOP this morning on VOP TV. Chisom Eninaya is in the studio with entertainment news. Good morning, Chisom.
Good morning, Fina. Good morning, Mr. Moses.
Happy New Morning.
Morning, you looking good.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Week too.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, now let's go into entertainment. And now, Nollywood actor and pastor Jimmy Odukoya has come out to advise women and wives who believe they are not supposed to render any form of financial help in their relationship. Now, according to Pastor Jimmy, most women want to be a bride, but not necessarily a wife because of the duties that comes with being a wife. And he has come out to advise women to help their men and not always be dependent on him. I feel, you know, women are supposed to help their men and provide both financial help, and if they cannot afford to provide financial help at that moment, they can be an emotional motivator for the man. They can help him spiritually and in many ways. Now, Mr. Moses, there's a notion that men love to be a provider. Yes, and how do men really feel when they are down financially and their woman just comes up and rescue them?
Well, there are two different things here now.
Yes.
When a man is down, it feels like the whole world is against him.
Yeah.
Men feel a lot more terrible is if the partner makes reference to it.
Yes.
Or rubs it rubbing it in your face like, oh yeah, imagine.
I helped
you
and all
you
that.
can't even pay your children's school fees.
Yeah.
I had to go and pay school fees. You don't. When you do it out of love.
Just smashing the man's ego.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you do it out of love. One thing that will always, one thing men care about more than love is respect.
Yes, true. I agree.
All
I
right.
agree. All right, let's move to the next topic. Late singer Mohbad's widow, Wunmi, called on the Nigerian police and other law enforcement agencies while also seeking help from Nigerians to save her from, the people that are threatening to take her life. Now, Wunmi claimed that she had been receiving so many phone calls from strange numbers threatening her to kill her and if she continues to, seek justice for her late husband, Mohbad. Now, the late singer's widow called on security agencies to help save her life and that of her son, Liam. Do you even see justice prevailing, Fina?
Looking
This
at
issue have been going on and on and on.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then we are getting so many controversial stories coming up from this.
Yes.
With the fact that some people come up, there's another one that came up to say that the man whom we assume were to be Mohbad's father is no longer his real father. And also the role he played in that, so all this is actually, it's making the story surrounding his death, and even now, the wives' story too.
His father is not his father?
That was what they said. The mother came out to
said
say...
that, but she meant that the way the man is seeking attention, and father would not do that. That was what she was trying to, bring up.
All these things.
She had it for another
not the
man.
biological part. but all the same, I believe that for Wunmi to come out to cry,
Yes.
to point fingers and all that shows that really something is wrong somewhere.
All right, then let's get into another story.
All right. Now, have you ever wondered why the two stars, Rugged Man and Nice, had their famous beef many years ago, which resulted to, distract from both of them? Well, Rugged Man has revealed details that led up to their problem. And according to him, despite introducing Nice to his ex-wife, Pain, Nice did not invite him to their wedding. Afterwards, Nice accused his ex-wife, Pain, of having an extramarital affair with Rugged Man, which resulted in their breakup.
Yeah, this is old story.
This is-
we
yes.
actually know all of this.
Exactly.
I think Rugged Man is seeking some attention right now.
With
But,
the whole interview and all that.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys want to, get more entertainment, tune in by 1 p.m. for more stories and more entertainment on the Spotlight. Thank you, and that's
All right, then.
for
Thank you very much,
entertainment.
Yusuf and Naya, for those entertainment stories. Then we'll
All
take a
right.
break. When we come back, we'll be talking sports. Stay with us.
Audio Jungle.
All right, quickly, let's just dive into it. It's the sports segment on the VOP this morning. Now, well, it's no more news in the thrilling AFCON 2023 final showdown in the host team, Cote d'Ivoire, the Elephants, as a popularly called, secured a historic victory by defeating Nigeria Super Eagles 2-1 on Sunday. This win marks Cote d'Ivoire's third AFCON title, drawing them level with Nigeria. Despite initially qualifying as one of the best third-place teams, the Ivorians showcased a remarkable comeback, overcoming a goal deficit to emerge triumphant. Now, throughout the game, the Super Eagles found themselves playing second fiddle as the Ivorian squad dominated with 7 shots on target, 6 of targets, controlling ball possession at 67% to 33%, and securing 5 corners. Before the final, Cote d'Ivoire has struggled to find the back of the net in their previous 4 appearances. However, Frank Kessie's equalizer not only helped secure their victory, but also marked a historic moment at the first Ivorian to secure in an AFCON final. Now, despite the Eagles taking the lead in the 38 minutes, through Captain William Struis-Ekong. The Ivorians, displaying determination and resilience, fought back in the second half. In the 62nd minute, Kese drew level with the powerful header, capitalizing on a well-deserved cross from Simon Adingra. Now the turning point came in the 81st minute when Cote d'Ivoire took the lead with 2-1 scoreline, thanks to Sebastian Haller's clinical finish from a sublime cross to Adingra. Now the victory not only adds another feather to Cote d'Ivoire's AFCON triumph, but also solidifies their status as formidable contenders in African football. Interestingly, Nigerians are still rolling in that loss. But let's dive into another part. William Struis-Ekong, in his a remarkable individual achievement, has been honored as the prestigious player of the tournament in 2023 African Cup of Nations. Now, the seasoned centre-back earned this accolade in recognition of his outstanding performances for the Super Eagles during the AFCON 2023 finals, where he showcased remarkable skills and leadership. Now that means William Struis-Ekong is the best player of the AFCON 2023. Well, all of this and more you get in our sports program, Sports Republic, particularly by 11 a.m. West African time, and you'll be getting so much more. So, for now, that's about it. Of course, yes, the federal government has also appreciated the Super Eagles for their doggedness at the AFCON 2023. That's about it for sports. Okay, so as we wrap it up this morning, hey, from me, that's about it for the end of the show. My name is David Edwin. Do have a beautiful, beautiful morning ahead.
My name is Fina Okechukwu. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.
And I'm Moses Humphrey. Have a lovely time. Bye for now.